Hey, everybody, we are live. We are continuing our series that we've done for a while now. And this is Ask the Coaches. And these are some of my awesome coaches for Work Speed. Coach Emilee, which is the first time on here. So welcome, Emilee. And then Coach Annaleise. And every Sunday, as we do, we are just going to answer your questions. And the topic of today that has been kind of a hot topic is get to moving. So how do we stay moving, or how do we maybe if we haven't been moving, how do we get started? Or if we have been, how do we kind of adapt? Because we don't have the gym like we used to, or we don't have the freedom as we used to. We may have little kids around now. So how do we adapt in that? And as always, please continue to like, subscribe, and share, and comment too. So your comments are awesome. Let us know who's watching. And we'll just go ahead and hop in and get started with this. And I'm going to start off actually with introductions. So Coach Emilee, if you're going to introduce yourself real quick.
Yeah, sure. I'm Coach Emilee, and I have my bachelor's degree in health education and promotion. And I'm also a certified holistic nutritionist and health coach. And that's me.
Awesome. How about you, Coach Annaleise?
Hi, guys. So I'm Annaleise. I've been a registered dietitian for about 4 years now. I have both my bachelor's and my master's in nutrition and dietetics. And I love to cook.
And you also have an amazing garden that continues to grow. You have a green thumb that I just don't. And Emilee has goats. So
I love goats. Love them.
Yet on that one. So, and I already see that Mike is on. Hi, Mike.
Hello.
Good to see you here. So let's hop into it. First question I have for y'all is, we're talking about get to moving. A lot of us feel stuck, and we feel like we can't, like we went to the gym or we've done things and we don't have our old normal. And so we have to change it up and adapt. What are some things that you guys have done to adapt to be able to still add exercise and movement into your daily life? I'll start with Coach Emilee.
Well, one of the things you talked about, how we might have little kids around. And I know for me, all of my little nieces and nephews, we've started this game super simple. Everyone just has a tennis racket and a tennis ball. And we choose a category like colors, animals, or something like that. And we just bounce it back and forth just on a little slab of concrete, saying their little category until someone repeats, and then we got to do a new category. And they love it. And it's a fun way to just get moving every day.
I love that. I love how you incorporated the kids too, because that is something that's so important. Because one, it's teaching them as well the importance of movement at a young age. And then you're making it fun, instead of some exercise that I was taught as a child was you exercise in a form of punishment. And that punishment was like, it's politically not correct to say now, but it's the only thing I know what it's called, is suicides, where you had to run back and forth. And it was for conditioning and training, but it wasn't fun. So that's awesome. And I love that you're doing that. How about you, Coach Annaleise?
So I've kind of stuck to the same routine that I kind of had before. I didn't have a gym membership when I moved down here, but I've still been, like this morning I went out and ran 3 miles. I try to go walk around the neighborhood, and whenever I'm walking, I'm either listening to a podcast or an audiobook, or lately I've been talking to my friends a lot more. So, or like video chatting them. Like I actually talked to one of my best friends from high school for the first time in a really long time. And I mean, shoot, I walked for like 2 hours with her. And so that's what I've been doing a lot, just walking around the neighborhood, chatting. I'm sure the whole neighborhood knows my business, which is okay, because I'm very loud and everyone can hear me. And I've really been liking, like whenever I don't feel like walking or running, my husband and I have been biking throughout the neighborhood, and gardening, because we were talking about that earlier. That's a good way to move. And I'm telling you, I'm still sweating when I'm gardening. And then I don't know if anyone's heard of the Fit On app, but I've used that as well. Yeah, it's great because they've got tons of different exercises. Like I've done some Pilates videos on there, and you just kind of get to pick and choose and gives you some variety.
And shout out to the Fit On app. That is one that's a free service too. And it has some of the top trainers. So the thing is it's not just somebody that might not know what they're doing, just showing you some workout moves. They actually have some backgrounds in it so that they can show you safe and sustainable ways to exercise, which is really cool. And then I also want to talk about movement. I've always been a proponent. I love gyms. I just know gyms have never worked for me, ever, ever, ever. I have every gym membership I've ever had, I've wasted money, and I call it donating back. Basically, it's a donation to another company because I don't end up using it. But for me, the adaptability comes in finding ways and getting creative. And what I want to emphasize, especially on this time, is that exercise, when we exercise, if we just go 30 minutes in a gym, we still have, or an hour in the gym, you still got 23 other hours of the day. So it really matters what you're doing in that 23 other hours. So what are some ways that people can stay moving that isn't, like an hour at a time, or maybe like 15, 20 minutes? I know that we talked about a walk, but what are some things that people can do to kind of break it up and have fun and add spontaneousness to it, or spontaneity into it? Coach Annaleise, we'll start with you.
Wasn't it Coach Sarah? Maybe. Did she mention some kind of like wheel where they would spin? Yeah, I loved that idea. I thought that was so fun because you could end up doing 100 burpees, and I mean, it would be awful. But I mean, that was a really cool idea, doing spin the bottle, and whatever the bottle lands on is the exercise that you do. So it's different every time. I loved that. I haven't done it, but I really did love that. What else? Just think.
I know one of the things that you talked to us about before was how people would map out like in their the road and have like little hopscotch or whatever courses.
Oh yeah. And then our neighborhood, they were kind of like leaving little special messages and stuff for people out in the street and everything. Like if you were out walking, people would like put a little message on the end of their driveway, which was really cute. Or they put little games out for the kids and things like that. Like, I don't know how many, our community is pretty cool. They're very involved with all the neighbors. They're constantly posting things about doing Easter egg hunts. We had like homes that would sponsor Easter egg hunts. So the kids would walk over to a specific house with their parents, of course, and they would, walk around and try to find the egg. And that was kind of cool. I love that.
That's awesome. How about you, Coach Emilee?
Well, I don't really live in a subdivision. Our neighbors are spread out really far. So we can't really do activities like that. But I know a lot of people are working from home and therefore sitting at computers all day. And I think it would be good to just maybe have a mental timer or something that every half hour you're like, oh, let's get up. I don't know. We talked about going for a walk. We talked about I have to laugh because I think dogs are getting so much attention now because everyone's taking their dogs out for walks all the time. And I think it's awesome. But I do, where I'm at, animals are a really awesome hobby. So I see a lot of people going out playing with animals, and you get fresh air, you get all that emotional support from your furry friends. And then I don't know.
No, I agree on that one. I'll say my kids, what they've been doing is we have the ducks outside, and poor ducks, they're getting more exercise than the kids, I guess, because they keep waddling away. And that's the thing, is getting outside and moving. Not only is it just being out in fresh air, it's also getting the opportunity to learn and grow and to kind of change up your routine. Because one thing that I've always talked about, like you said, people are sitting a lot right now. I know I've been sitting a lot. I'm trying not to say stuck in this house. I'm safe in this house, but right now, or for a while, it's been feeling kind of stuck. I like these four walls, but not every day, especially when I'm a people person. So, but the point of that is all to say is that I have to find time because I am more stressed than normal because I don't have my normal outlets. People typically are my outlets to be able to talk and to grow and be in and help. So the things that I found is one, that me and the kids, we have our own little workout that we love to like run the driveway. But if it's raining outside, what are some things that you can do? getting creative with that. And then one thing that I love that you talked about too is walk and talk meetings. Corporate side, I've always been an advocate of this because what happens is, and I will say especially with males, I've always used the excuse, and I've had this conversation. If you ever get your spouse across from you, you're like, "Hey, let's talk," and you suddenly see that facial expression, like, "Oh dear Heavenly Father, they're about to spew out on me." Comparative to like me and my husband, we'll walk the driveway, and it is something with the movement that allows the men specifically to be able to open up and talk more. And so that's something that I would really, really recommend, especially if you're having a hard time with your spouse right now and you still need to move. Get out there, just if you have a driveway, go walk it or walk the cul-de-sac. Mm-hmm. Exercise does not have to be something that is so vigorous that some people. Yes, we need 150 minutes a week, but let's be real. Most people aren't even getting that now. So it's slow and steady. Another thing I want to talk about too is the importance of stretching. And we talked about this with Coach Sarah, making sure that we don't do static stretches in the beginning, that we really need to warm up our body. So, which is called dynamic stretching. That means that you're actually kind of like stretching the muscle through a movement. And so let's talk about that for a second. What are some easy ways that we can warm up our bodies before we go and move? Coach Emilee, we'll start with you.
Well, I just want to add on to what you said. I had back surgery a couple of years ago, and it was treacherous. And I think the only thing that made me recover as well as I did was stretching. And now that I have kind of my little routine where I do my little warm up, just get the blood flowing, and then, a tiny little stretch, but I mostly focus on my stretching after I've done my scheduled workout. And my back is amazing. I can't, it's amazing. So I can't emphasize enough how important stretching is. I kind of like to I like to do yoga after I've done my vigorous heart pumping exercise. One of the ways that you can do more of a stretching to warm up that's moving. I know one of the ways that's really fun that I've done with my nephew is we get a little Pilates ball and we'll bounce on it and we'll stretch our legs out, or we'll roll across on our stomachs and stretch on our arms or stretch on our backs, and it's a really fun way because he loves it. He's moving and I'm stretching and I'm moving, but it doesn't feel, I don't know, like it's painful, like it's boring. It's fun. You're moving and your muscles are getting stretched, warm. We enjoy it.
That's awesome. And I think that's something too that Coach Annaleise had talked about. Even whenever you're walking, you don't even know that, by the time, I know for me, it's I'll be walking around. I'm like, oh, I've been talking for an hour. And I'm like, I don't do that. So, but back to the question about stretching, what are some things that you do before you go out? Because I know that you're a big runner. So how do you prep before that? Because I want to say the one big thing that I see a lot of people do is sciatica. They'll have back pain and back issues because they go into starting running when they're not ready. And basically it's from their lower extremities up, and it's a lot of tightness. So what are some things that you do?
So I will say I am not the greatest at stretching before I run. I do sometimes and I don't always. But maybe that's something I'll kind of make one of my own personal goals, is actually doing more of the dynamic stretches and things like that. But typically the stretches that I typically do are more of a yoga based. I'll find a yoga video or something like that. And I really enjoy the flow of that. It's very relaxing, and then it just kind of makes me feel good afterwards.
I love that. One of my favorite things to do is yoga with my kids. And I don't know if any of y'all ever heard of Cosmic Kids, but if you have, it is awesome because we do Pokemon yoga. We do, and we battle through it. We've done Finding Nemo, all the Disney ones. Think of any Disney movie or any popular kids show. Cosmic Kids is one that I really recommend, especially for kids, but also for adults, because it's actually fun. That's one. And there's another one called Go Noodle for kids. That's good. Like I said, Fit On app is probably my biggest for adults. Of course, you can always reach out to us and we can make plans for you too and assist you with that as always. So, while we're talking about this, again, if anybody has any comments or questions, feel free to ask them because we want to know what are some of your needs or your questions about getting moving and how can we stay that or add that to our day. One thing that I know that Emilee talked about was adding like a 15-minute reminder. If anybody has a Fitbit or a Garmin or an iWatch, they all give those reminders, those little 10 till. And so I think that might be something too. But what I found even more is because people can ignore technology, they don't really ignore humans as much. So a text message or like ours, we have the LiveWise app, and anytime we message you, that's us messaging you, say, hey, you kind of haven't moved in a little bit. And it's the encouragement. So making sure you have an accountability partner. So let's talk about that real quick. The importance of accountability in not just getting moving, but staying moving. Start with you, Coach Annaleise.
So yeah, my accountability partner down here is definitely Mike, my husband. So he keeps me moving frequently. We like to ride bikes together. Now, back in college, my accountability partner was my roommate, and we were on it. We were so good because there were days that I didn't want to go, and she'd be like, we're going at least 30 minutes, and if you just hear 30 minutes, you're like, okay, I can do it. Just 30 minutes, And that was so important for me because it released so much stress. It helped me sleep better. And so having her just simply say, we're going, whether you want to or not, or, hey, let's just do an at-home workout. We got tests coming up or papers to write, let's just do something together at home, bust it out and be done with it. And I was like, okay. So there's just so much to having someone say, nope, you do it. And, the accountability really is key. It's been very helpful for me.
I agree. And I think it's something that's really important. Like for us, there's a group of us, we all basically just type in and say, what have we been doing today? And we're doing a planks and push-up challenge just between, there's a group of us that's doing it. And I know that in May, we're going to be starting something called a mailbox challenge. And it basically, or I call it a tree challenge because I don't really have mailboxes around me. But every so often you start and you do another exercise, and it starts off with a little warm up and then it goes on. But that's something too that we really want to encourage y'all. If you don't have the LiveWise app, get it and download it, App Store, LiveWise, and look at ways that you can stay accountable. We're here to help. So Emilee, what are some things that you do to help stay accountable for yourself?
I would say I agree with everything Coach Annaleise said. And then I would say that my accountability partner would definitely be my husband because he's so funny. He tells me, you're just grumpy if you don't work out. So you've got to at least get something done. Or I can't be around you. So he's definitely the one that holds me accountable. And then I do the same for him in return. And I think one of the things that we've done to kind of help each other out in those sluggish moments where you're like, I don't feel like I want to do it, kind of like Coach Annaleise was talking about, is we've started to do dance parties. So it's been Disney music lately because my daughter loves it. But we crank up the Disney tunes and we just dance around in our little apartment, and you work up a sweat, and it's really fun. If we didn't have our structured exercise, that's something that we laugh about, we have fun with, and we're getting all of our movement in all in one.
I love that. I love dance parties. I'm not gonna lie, we do them all the time. And I didn't start doing them until I was an adult, which is kind of weird. I don't know, but if you've not, anybody watching that has not did a dance party, do a dance party, and you will understand like what we're talking about. Because it's like you feel like an idiot half the time, but it does not matter. Like you get to just have fun and dance And I used to be a professional ballroom dancer. And so for me, it's a great space to teach my kids how to dance too. And so I think that's something that I have fun with as well. So I absolutely love that. So, well, I know we're at the 20-minute mark. One thing that I just want to emphasize here is one, accountability is key. And if you do not have somebody, reach out to us. We can help you. That's what we're here for. We have these amazing coaches here, Coach Emilee and Coach Annaleise, but we also have a whole crew that you can actually see at that link at www.worksby.com/give back to you. And the goal is just to be able to give back during this time. We know people are stressed out. We know we're stressed out. So let's get to the realness. If we're stressed out and we're the ones that preach this and teach this, we know other people have to. There's no ifs, ands, or buts on that. So any final last thoughts or questions? I'll start with Coach Emilee, and I'm going to pull up your link too. So if anybody wants to schedule with you, again, it is no cost. We've waived all fees during quarantine. So
I would just say, and you talked about how it's a stressful time, just keep moving. That's going to get the happy endorphins going, and it will help you, manage your stress, and it will keep you healthier and happier.
How about you, Coach Annalise?
I completely agree with Coach Emilee. Just get out there, move your body, do what you love. That's the most important thing. Don't do stuff you don't like. Find a movement that you love and do it. It'll make you feel better.
Yes. Because it's important to start today. Don't keep putting it off, because I'll say for me, especially, and Coach Annalise, I know that you work in the older area.
My geriatrics, I love them.
Yes.
I love
the thing
them.
is whenever you talk to people of the geriatric age, 9 times out of 10, what you always hear is that they wish they would have started earlier. And if they could, if they'd started in their 20s, or if they started whenever they were a child. So you can start today. It's it may not be easy. Nothing's easy. And it's the other thing is that you're going to probably mess up 1, 2, 3, 4 times. But it's about progression, not perfection. And again, we're here for you. So we greatly appreciate everybody that hopped on today. Again, if you need us, reach out, and have an awesome and blessed Sunday. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.